Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. That was a wild story, had real meat to it. A lot was steak. Be careful not to mince the facts in your head. It's pretty clean cut, with evenly sliced paragraphs. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. The story of the meat man and the new employee. During the mid-2000s, there was a local convenience store war going on between three aggressively expanding supermarket companies in my area. As a result, some towns in the area had multiple shops run by the same company within a very short distance to one another. The reasoning being that even a small store operating at a loss is better than a competitor having a location near you. The upside to this was that there were lots of part-time jobs available for high school seniors at these stores. This meant that I, along with most all of my friends, worked for just one company, and that's how the story began. I was midway through a shift in the small shop I worked in when one of my friends who worked in our sister store, a larger supermarket operated by the same company about 2 minutes away, came running in and was visibly excited. Trying to catch his breath, the only thing he could get out was, "They've caught Meatman!" Now, Meatman, for the uninitiated, was a notorious local shoplifter, one of only a handful in our quiet little town, and he generally targeted the larger store to steal, you guessed it, meat. He'd been on a thieving spree for the better part of 2 years, but generally only took small amounts of steaks or bacon to sell at the local pub, keeping his bad habits going. His escapades weren't really enough to warrant the larger store stumping up for a security guard, as what he stole could easily be absorbed in the shrinkage budget of a store that was placed in a particularly low-crime area. Recently, however, he'd become more emboldened, clearing out the meat section of 2 stores completely within a week, and so management had made sure that every employee within a 20-mile radius was made aware of him. He'd started to become somewhat of a local legend. Meatman's MO was to wear a huge jacket with a piece of rope tied around the waist. This meant he could walk up to the items he wanted, shove as much as he could inside the jacket, and run out of the store just as the staff clocked what was going on. The method was simple, but very effective, and he knew once he was out the door, the chances of someone on minimum wage giving enough of a damn to actually chase him were slim to none. Now back to my friend. After calming down, my friend began to tell me what had happened that day. He told me that a new supervisor had just started at his store. The supervisor was a young man who'd just finished college and was eager to impress his new manager. As fate would have it, he would get his chance right away. The young supervisor was arranging stock when he noticed a particularly shifty individual enter the store, a very skinny man wearing a very large coat. The supervisor thought it strange that someone would wear such a large coat, considering it was the middle of summer, and decided to keep an eye on the individual. Little did he know he was about to encounter a local legend. The skinny man walked with purpose straight to one aisle, the meat aisle. He stopped promptly beside the steak and after a quick glance around began hurriedly stuffing steaks, bacon, and ham hocks inside the oversized coat. The supervisor, being an intelligent individual, reasoned that if the man filled his coat before being confronted, it would make him easier to catch. The added weight of the meat along with the awkward coat discouraged the thief from trying to run, so he waited for the man to fill his coat. He was wrong. The thief headed to the door, but before he could leave, the supervisor ordered him to stop. Much to his surprise, the thief did not stop and actually began to sprint from the store and down the street. The supervisor, eager to impress, decided to give chase, knowing that the thief would eventually tire and that he had an advantage. He was a cross-country runner. The thief cut down all the alleyways he could see, attempting to flee the supervisor, but the young man could not be shaken from the trail. Panicking and desperate, the junkie began to toss various meat products from his coat in an attempt to lighten his burden. Terrified by the pursuer and becoming weary from the effects of running with so much added weight on his person, he abandoned all strategy and opted for the path of least resistance. Down the hill on our main street, spewing packets of steak and bacon behind him like some bizarre piñata. Eventually, the toll on his body was too much, and after almost 2 miles, his strength gave out. He collapsed on the street, hyperventilating and begging for mercy. The young man casually walked over and, assessing the situation, noticed that, by a fantastic twist of fate, he was exactly where he needed to be. The thief had collapsed just 2 doors down from the local police station, and 2 officers were standing outside cleaning their patrol car. A brief chat with the officers and a search of his coat, revealing that for all his trouble, he only had a steak and 2 packets of bacon left on him, along with a near 2-mile trail of meat products, were enough to seal Meat Man's fate. He was arrested, and my friend had run straight over from the store to tell me what had happened. All I know beyond that is that Meat Man was put on trial, he pled guilty, and received a couple of months in prison. I moved away before he was due for release, so I have no idea if he changed his ways. The supervisor received a commendation from management and a high street gift card for his troubles. And our second story. The cheeky cop ruins it for everyone. Years ago, I worked at a very popular regional fast food chain. We didn't advertise it, but uniformed police officers received a 50% discount with the idea that it was a nice thing to do for officers on their lunch break. According to my manager, it was standard practice and we'd been doing it since forever. Typically, our manager would see an officer order, go up to the terminal, swipe a card, and the discount's applied. We don't tell the officer that they got a discount, but it does say minus 50% on the receipt. Most of the time, they don't ask what just happened. They usually comment on how cheap the prices are and get on about their day. One officer, who we'll call Mark, asks what the discount's all about. We tell him the conditions. It's a 50% discount for uniformed officers. Cool, he says. A few days later, Mark comes in plain clothes. The following ensues. Mark, I want 8 number 1 meals and give me the 50% discount. Flashes badge. Me. I'm sorry, sir. I can ring you up for the 8 number 1s, but we can't give you the discount on that. Mark. What? Why not? Me. It's only for officers when they're in uniform. Mark. What does that have to do with anything? I put my life on the line every day whether I'm in uniform or not. Me. And I thank you for your service to the community, but it's company policy. Mark. Let me talk to your manager. Manager reiterates that we can't give him a discount on 8 meals that was originally meant for officers on their lunch break. They argue for a few minutes. Mark fumes, accepts that he won't get the discount, and leaves without completing the order. Shortly after, we get a call from the chief of police asking to speak with the manager. He asks what the discount's all about. Manager explains. Chief tells us to cut it out, and we're no longer allowed to give them out as it's akin to bribery. Thanks, Mark. And our last story. A coworker wanted my job. I've, 30-year-old male, worked at my current employer for 3 years. Last year, I received a promotion to project manager. In the beginning, everything went well, but in the last month, I've been getting more and more negative feedback. I didn't understand what was going on or why people were becoming so negative about me. I was losing clients and several colleagues were really upset with me. I was at a loss. I started talking to my manager and my department head about following courses, getting monthly feedback to perform better. I just wanted to live up to the promotion I received. I felt like I was failing. Then a friend/colleague, 27-year-old female of mine, came to me angry and demanded that I apologize for what I said. I was really confused and asked her why she was so upset with me. She explained she received an email where I was basically blaming her for the issues that I was dealing with. This was an email a client forwarded her. I was at a loss and explained I never sent out an email like that, and if she could show me. She did, and it had my name, my send address, and everything seemed like it was from me, but I never sent it. Then it clicked with me. My assistant, 39-year-old female, has access to my email and had the ability to send as me. She's also the only one that has these rights. I was flabbergasted, and so much started to make sense. She was next in line for my job and did not receive the promotion. I did. I checked all her sent mail on her PC while she was out for lunch and saw dozens of emails sent as if it was me. An email still open on her screen showed my email address and a written message to clients with misinformation, passive aggressiveness, and straight up lies. These were sent out under my name. I made screenshots and sent them to myself, then went to my manager and the head of the department. They were pissed. She was fired the same day. I was relieved and all my colleagues were informed. I thought I was completely in the right here, but some people at work are complaining that I violated company policy for snooping on her PC and violating her privacy. My boss and direct colleagues have my back, but the people that knew her, she's worked there since 2011, and I've only been here since 2018, say I went too far. Apparently she's a single mother with 2 kids and needed this job. I also need this job, and she was more than willing to sacrifice me for her benefit. I don't see how I could be in the wrong for defending myself. Update. They just let me know they're holding a meeting to clarify what exactly happened. They were catching on to people that weren't happy about her being fired, and they want to quell any issues before they start taking root. I'll update again once the meeting's over. It's in 1 hour and 20 minutes from now. Update 2. Meeting took about an hour and a half, and after that, I was in and out of talks with colleagues and other people. It was properly explained what she was doing and has done to me and the company. The attitude towards me noticeably changed in a positive direction, with a lot of people apologizing to me and explaining they've known her for years, were friends, and could not imagine she actually did something like this. Honestly, I'm happy it ended up this way. HR and my boss really had my back and preemptively handled to avoid any lingering negativity. Nothing but praise for them. I've requested some time off, which was approved, and I'll be home for a week starting next week, per my request/advice. They're also going to revise or at least look at the company policy regarding access to other people's emails and other security issues I've noticed. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.